Hello everybody. It is Friday, the 29th of July, right? So I want to talk about that we absolutely must learn from the mistakes of history. And I will show you that we have not learned from the mistakes of history because we don't actually see where the mistake might be. And we have actually been doing continuously and in a very big way right now what Egypt was doing and a lot of the other old civilizations were doing. And we're about to create the same outcome for ourselves. So we have not learned, we have not seen what the mistake actually was. And at the moment, we are actually not even looking for the mistakes. A lot of people are not looking. Yeah? They're standing here and saying all those wonderful, great civilizations that were so much greater than us, not taking into account the fact that they're gone. So what was so much greater than us in them? Well, a lot of it is built based on the buildings. Yeah, we're admiring their buildings. And I mean, I give it to them. They built good, solid buildings. They're still here. The buildings are still here. But the thought that created them is gone. And the buildings did not save the thought. So yeah, the good solid buildings, but in the end, they didn't save them. So in that, they're actually on their own, standing there now. This world littered in pyramids. They were utterly useless. So to see where the mistake actually was, and then really go into the essence of what they were doing, looking past the buildings, looking past the stories, looking past the wonderful depictions they left in stone or the depictions inside of the pyramids, which are beautiful. Look past that and come to the very essence of their thinking, and then see that we're actually still doing the same thing. Exactly the same thing. And as I said, we're about to run to the same outcome. So the essence of what they were doing. Now, as I said in my videos before, these great cultures that didn't make it, well, a lot of them were looking to the heavens because their buildings were built for astronomy. Yeah? And they saw an order. They saw how the forces were ordering the cosmos. Yeah? And then they brought that knowledge to Earth. And Earth needs to be ordered according to what they saw as the forces of the cosmos. So what they actually did was, now let's start first of all. So what they did is they created a blueprint of the cosmos. And that would be their blueprint of how life would have to be ordered here. So in a way, they were the architects. And yes, they built their blueprints on knowledge. They did. So then they are the architects of the blueprint, and now we'll start building something according to that blueprint. And they built a great civilization. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and at some point the whole bloody thing collapses. And that happened over and over and over again. So now, where is the fault? And that's the first thing. When we learn from history, see what they did went belly up. So if we learn from the mistakes, we need to look for the mistakes. Why did that go belly up? Where was the mistake? So we can learn from it. So where was the mistake? I tell you something where the mistake most likely was not. And that was with the plebs at the very bottom. They were doing as they were told and building. Actually doing the manual work. So it was most likely not with them. Although they are the ones that forever will get the blame. Yeah? But if you build something, okay, then you have a building firm that gets the blueprint of the architect. Now there things can go terribly wrong if you have a corrupt builder. Yeah? That makes shortcuts to gain riches for himself. Yeah? Things can go horribly wrong on that level. Yes. And we must consider the possibility that the mistake was actually in the blueprint. Of course, the architect will always be the one that shouts the loudest. It wasn't me. I'm an enlightened being. I'm filled with knowledge. I am all. I know it all. The blueprint was not at fault. So it may have been a corrupt builder. They're all like handing the blame down until it ends up with the plebs. That will then beat themselves up severely for their own shortcomings. But that's what happens over and over again. It could be a combination of things. Yeah? Quite often outcome does have more than one cause. So to say you had a faulty blueprint and you handed that to a corrupt builder, that will accelerate the collapse. In religion, you could say the religion is the blueprint, and if you have a corrupt priesthood, the builders, it leads to collapse. Politics. Yeah? You have a great blueprint of how the country should be run, but you have corrupt politicians. Again. But, in all, we must consider that the blueprint itself was faulty. The cracks were in the very foundation, which is the blueprint. So, and as I said, we're actually still doing the same thing. And that is what is actually the blueprint. What is the blueprint? It's a model. It's a model of the universe. They created a model of the universe. And then they ordered life according to that model, and they made predictions out of that model. And then things started going belly up. And does that sound in any way familiar to you? Because we are still doing the same thing. We create models. And we order everything. Everybody has to do according to the model. And according to the predictions of the model. We're doing it right now. In a big way. Exactly what the Egyptians did. What those big cultures did. And then, is there a root mistake that goes even deeper than the models were faulty? Because they most likely were. Again, you're looking at all of the creator. You take your knowledge and you're saying, I am all, which most likely they were not, because otherwise the bloody thing would have worked. So they have part knowledge, is what they have now, part knowledge. And you create a model and saying, this is it. When you have missing pieces of information. So that's what they did. We're still doing the same thing. We have not learned from the mistakes of history. Because we do not see what they were actually doing in essence. We are confused by the buildings and the stories and the depictions, but we cannot see what they did in essence, and that's what they did. They created a model and proclaimed that model to be all infallible. That is reality. Exactly what they're doing now. So, but is there another root mistake even before that, even before the faulty model? And that is making models at all. Is that the root mistake? And I mean, is that maybe, and I was thinking about that this morning, is that the meaning of the second commandment? You shall not make yourself an image. Well, it says a graven image. But, go away, fly. If your understanding of the forces is the understanding of God's, and then you see God as a being, then yeah, a graven image is a depiction of your understanding of what God is. But if we go further than that now, in our understanding, yeah, they went further in the understanding of the cosmos and the depiction of the gods, and became the depiction of the planets, because there are forces coming from the planets that are affecting this earth. But that is still an image. It's based on a different understanding, but it's still an image. And if we now go and look at the Creator as energies, vibrations, and now we make formulas and we make depictions of little arrows or whatever, how those, is that not still an image of what we think is out there? We are still creating a model, and we may still not have all the information. So is creating a model itself the mistake? And I'm thinking about where to go from here. I mean, I had a thought, but in the end, that again, it involves a model. But I will talk about that tomorrow, but in the end, it still involves a model. Just adjusting the model, or how they thought, the forces interacted with each other. And out of that coming a new way forward. I mean, the second commandment says, is that what it says? Thou shalt not create a model of the Creator. In modern language, according to our understanding, is that what it says? Or is that just what we do? I mean, how on earth do you go without a baseline model on which you base everything else? I mean, you have this thing about trial by water, which is going with your emotions, trial by fire, which is where we're in at the moment. We're in trial by fire, where our intellect is creating models. And then comes trial by air. Yeah? How do you fly? I don't know. Anyway, I want to leave it at this for today. I shall think about a bit more what I was thinking about, what should create order, the way order should be created. And apparently it should not be created by our rational mind, creating a model, even if it's based on the best of information that we have at the time. You see, that's a problem. It's the information that we have at the time, and it's never all. And then kind of squeeze life into that model, and life must do according to that model. And it doesn't serve life. That is why all these big civilizations collapse in the end. life gets really pissed off because it doesn't receive what it needs to live. Anyway, I leave it at that for today, and I talk to you again soon. Bye.